if you have younger people, not of that age, you need to find activity, find camps, you need to find, whatever it needs to do. And again, you're looking at low cost, right? So one of the things that my kids do, we have our special guest today is Jerry, right? And we're going to bring him on because his organization provides opportunities for young men and women for the summer. And actually, as a matter of fact, it's up to any age, and they get opportunities to travel. They get to go, all around the United States, and do something different. But like I said, if you're doing the summer youth, let's do some financial literacy along with it. So Jerry, welcome again to the Village Talk Show.
The dreaded Bonnies. I used to hate it.
He said that. Thanks for having me back,
Jerry. Every time he said the Bonnies, he gets mad. Right? You guys did a number on him when he was a kid.
Yeah, man. We always had to go down to the damn parade grounds to play the Bonnies. Or we had to Seaview Park to play the Bonnies. Yeah,
I was actually at a meeting today, and one of the kids said, "Oh yeah, I play baseball." He says he plays for the Bonnies.
All right,
that was kind of cool. I was in Staten Island. I was at a meeting. So tell us a little bit who you are, Jerry.
Okay, well, my name is Jerry Katzke, and I'm the treasurer and athletic director of the Bonnie Youth Club. The Bonnie Youth Club is in its 73rd year of providing a academic, recreational, and athletic program for the youth of the community. The organization was originally founded back in 1949 by Al Bonnie Sr. and his two sons, Al Jr. and Joe. Mr. Bonnie was a businessman in Flatbush. He had a moving and storage business on Church Avenue and New York Avenue, and he decided he wanted to do something to give back to the community. And what he did was he started a baseball program, and we started with one team back in 1949, a college-age team. And over the years, we've grown to 15 teams, 350 players, ranging in age from 4 through 21. And although, baseball has always been our primary activity, we really view our mission as being much bigger than just baseball. We really view our business as our mission as using baseball and using sports to produce solid citizens of the community. And our approach is to bring players into the organization at a young age. We start at age 4. And over a period of years, not only develop their baseball skills, but their sense of sportsmanship and fair play, help them in terms of high school and college, in terms of both their athletics and their academics, and see them graduate from college and become productive members of the community.
But Jerry, you had a lot of ringers too, man. I remember playing the
ball. No.
Bonnie's a lot of ringers too. You got a lot of ringers, man.
Listen, they're not ringers. No. Jerry,
that sounds like a sore loser to me.
Jerry, in your defense, they were not ringers. What they were they were coached well by the coaches at the Bonnies, so that when they went to go play against John's team, who was undercoached and not coached at all,
there you go.
He felt like they were ringers, but just because the talent was at the Bonnies.
But right down there next to the Bonnies, we had I used to coach for the Brooklyn Skyhawks.
Yeah.
Right down there, parade grounds. Played there many, many years.
Yeah.
So that's a lot, But yeah, I'm not a sore loser.
Yes,
I have ringers, man. That's all.
One of the again, you could tell John is a little bit. He's still John. How long ago? 40 years ago, man. 45, 50 years ago. You still was about 50 years ago, John. You still
yeah.
It's funny because I'm
still sour.
You say
I'm still sour.
He's still sour. 50 years later, he's still sour. What's one of the things that people don't understand, that there's a correlation between being active in and we always talk about after school activity, being inactive. Tell us what number of your students or your athletes actually went on to college?
Well, we really pride ourselves in the fact that pretty much every one of our high school student athletes goes on to college.
I think you had a number.
So we currently have we currently have about 50 players in college right now. About half of them on academic or athletic scholarships, and we've graduated 150 players from college over the last 15 years.
Very nice.
And, many of them have gone on to be doctors and lawyers and teachers and engineers and policemen and firemen, as well as professional baseball players.
I want to go back to sometimes people hear these numbers and like, oh, that doesn't sound like a lot, right? How many high school, because now you say over the last few years, we have 150 players who went on to college. How many players?
150 that graduated from college.
That graduated from college. The question that I have to ask is, I want people to really take a really big scope of what we're saying. How many players are on a team, and how many high school level teams do you have?
Sure. Well, in terms of players on the team, it varies from one age group to another, but
now I'm talking about
average,
the high school.
about
I want to talk about
players
high school
on
level.
each team.
How many?
16
on a high school level. And how many?
High school level. That's correct.
And how many teams do you have?
Well, we have 15 teams altogether.
No.
That are actually high school age.
No, just high school age. I'm talking about.
Yeah, so high school age, we have, I would say, 4 or 5 teams.
All right. So and by the way, the age group of high school parents, if you're listening, right, is everybody's not a senior, right? So I want to make sure that people understand that everybody on that team is not a senior. So you might have 4 seniors, 5 seniors at most on a team. So now, if you're playing baseball, right, and you have 4 or 5 people on a team every year, so maybe 15 total seniors. And if you're looking at over the last 10 years, that means approximately every child is going to college, right? And 50% of those children are getting scholarships, partial or full. So let's talk about that again, parents. We all want our children to be better than us. And if you have almost 100% of the children participating in sports are actually going on to college, isn't that something that you want for your own kid? So when you break down the number, that doesn't sound like a lot. Let's break it down as properly as we can. I have about 4 to 5 students, and almost all of them are going to college. Almost all of them are graduating from college. And like Jerry just told you, they're doing different professions, that support. So it shows the value of being involved in academia, not just academia, but in recreation.
Now, how many of your participants, children, are females?
Not very many. I mean, baseball is a sport where the females can compete at the youngest ages, and we do have about, I would say right now, we have about 5 females in the organization who are at the younger ages. But once they get, I would say above 12, it's pretty hard for females to compete in baseball. Now we don't have some other organizations have softball programs in parallel with their baseball programs, and there are more females involved. But we focus pretty much 100% on baseball.
Yeah, don't tell Alina that, by the way.
Well, no, I was actually going to say next, Rodney, that Alina is an example. She's on she's currently on our 9-year-old team, and in my opinion, if she continues on the track that she's on, she is going to be a high school baseball player.
Yeah.
Baseball and not softball.
Oh no,
correct.
Alina's good. Alina, she plays actually with my son. And she pitches. Huh?
She wins your son all the time,
She
right?
She wins my son.
Yeah.
She doesn't win my
And
son.
she strikes him out all the time.
Oh,
That's what I mean.
can she strike him out? Yeah. She's not just striking him out. Yeah, she's hitting. She's hitting. You know, I think back in the days where Tom Hanks had that movie with the Girls Don't Cry. I forgot the name of the movie that he did back in the 50s. They had a women's baseball league.
Yeah, what is a movie? There was a movie, A League of Their Own.
A League of Their Own, right?
Which was a real famous movie in terms of a women's baseball team.
Yeah.
Hey Jerry, presently, how many of those ball players have actually made the major leagues?
Okay, so we've had we've had a lot of players that have played in the minor leagues. We probably had about 50 players that have played in the minor leagues. In terms of the majors, we've had about 5 players that have played in the major leagues. There are 2 players right now who are in the minor leagues who have a very good chance of being big-time players in the major leagues.
You
Their
also have
brothers. One is Joshua Palacios.
mhm.
He's currently with Toronto. He's probably going to be on the major league team this year. And his brother, Richard Palacios, is probably going to be in AAA, which is the next level down. Now, their uncle played for us, and he was a major leaguer. He played with Toronto, and with the Red Sox, and he also played with the Tigers.
You also have an ump, right? A famous umpire.
Yeah,
right?
we also, our major claims to fame, in terms of guys that have gone on to bigger and better things, is C.B. Buckner played with us, and he's now just completed his 23rd year as a major league umpire.
Wow.
Mark Tatum, who originally started with us as a 9-year-old, went to Brooklyn Tech, went to Cornell, Harvard Business School, and is now the deputy commissioner of the National Basketball Association. So he's the second in command to Adam Silver. Jared Banner also started with us in Instructional League and went on to go to Amherst and is now the vice president of player development for the Chicago Cubs. And Eric DeLon, who's a state assemblyman, played with us as well.
I didn't know that.
I knew that.
Yeah, because you rubbed
I
it.
knew that.
Why? Because he rubbed it in.
I knew that.
John is mad right now. John is dead. So let's talk about funding.
Sure.
How does the Bonnies fund? How do you fund? I mean, the baseball is a very expensive sport, and a lot.
Okay.
Here's a lot.
So we're a 501c3 organization. We're a nonprofit. In all of our 72 years, we've never had a paid employee. Everyone's a volunteer.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
It costs us about $200,000 to run the organization for a year, and we raise all of that money ourselves. Half of that money comes through membership donations from the participants, and the other half comes from a variety of sources. We've been fortunate enough to get discretionary funding from the New York City Council for about the last 12 years. We've also, 2 out of the last 5 years, we've gotten funding from Major League Baseball and the Players Association. They have a program called the Youth Development Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of the money comes from, sponsorships. We get a lot of donations from our alumni. We have an annual journal that we do, and we run a variety of different fundraising events.
Excellent. One of the things I try to put things into perspective from a financial level. It runs depending on what age level. Let's say over a lifetime, over 10 years of baseball, because you say you started 4, but you could start at, let's say you start at 6 and you play till you're 17. So that's 12 seasons of baseball. You spend $500 per season.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Doing in 10 is 5,000. So 12 seasons, $6,000. All right. Oh, so you spend over $6,000 to do that. And when we started the show, the reason why I'm going back to the funding and the cost is when you look at it, you spend $6,000 over 10 years and you get a full or partial scholarship. The child is dedicated, right? If the child is dedicated, you get a full partial scholarship. Now, I'm sure some of us who are paying tuition understand that $6,000 pales, right, John? Swarthmore? Pales in comparison, right, to what we have to pay for tuition. So that's why it's a long-term, and Joanne, you were talking about your children starting a business, but this is kind of like a long-term investment into your child's future.
That's if they're good. You understand?
Actually, let's good. So there are a number of ways to get good, right? One is natural ability,
Mhm.
and the second one is hard work, right? So a child can become good if they're dedicated, right? Dedication, determination, and desire, those three things together will eventually breed success.
If they love it. If they don't love it, and you're living vicariously through the child, then they're not going to put 100% in.
Yes, but at some point you're going to understand I'm going to have to step aside. I'm just saying the investment is there, right? At some point you might choose not to. We were talking, so you have summer camp as well, right? What does that look like?
Yeah, so we run, obviously, our baseball program is basically year round, but in addition to that, we also do run a camp for the summer, which is run by Jose Castro, who's one of our managers. It's called Books and Baseball, and he runs a summer camp which is headquartered at the Parade Grounds, which is our home field, and also our clubhouse, which is around the corner from the Parade Grounds. And what he tries to do is focus on working with the kids, particularly the younger kids. I would say from, some age 7 to 8 through to 12 primarily. And really works with them not only on their baseball, but really on their studies as well. And we also use a lot of our high school players, and in some cases college players, as counselors for the program.
Interesting. What's, by the way, I both of my children, no, one of them went to the camp last summer. Because you want to hear how much the camp is?
Free.
Nah, it wasn't free, but it was, call it free. It was $100 a week.
Wow.
$100 a week for 8 weeks.
Wow.
So that's how do you beat that? I mean, my other son who goes to camp pays a significant, I think triple that, and he doesn't even go as long. Andre.
So what are the hours at the camp?
Andre.
What are your hours?
Oh, I think the hours were like maybe I think they were around 9 a.m. to 3 p.m.
And that's every day?
Every Monday through Friday.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of the kids that attend, are people who play on our teams. So it is coordinated with our teams, but there are players there, and there are people who attend that are not, one of our players. Okay. So we have kind of a mix of both.
All right. Where do the children play?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Like, where do your kids play for parents who are interested? Where do they practice? Where do they play?
Oh, where do they pay? Is that what you said?
No, play. Where do they go?
Well, you're talking about the summer camp or our program in general?
In general.
Okay. So our program in general is basically headquartered in Brooklyn at the Parade Grounds. Is our home field. We also use a Nostrand Playground, which unfortunately is about to be turned into a recreation center. But it has been one of our home fields for a number of years now. So our base is Brooklyn, but in order to get the level of competition that we're looking for, we have to go beyond Brooklyn. So we do play in all the 5 boroughs, and we also more and more have our teams playing out in Long Island to get the best competition that we possibly can. We also belong to a number of national organizations. So if we do well locally, we do get the opportunity to travel out of state. Over the years that I've been with the organization, I think we've played in 21 different states, probably as far west as New Mexico and Oklahoma, as far south as Florida, Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands, as far north as Vermont and Maine. So, and then we've been in the Midwest quite a bit as well. But our home base is Brooklyn.
Yeah, I saw my son's schedule. Right now he's going to Maryland, he's going to this, and I think one team just went to Florida, and one of the teams just
that's correct. Our 10-year-old team just played in a tournament that was in the in the Sanford area of Florida, which is right outside of Orlando. They went there during President's Week. And although, we were a team from the north, which means that we haven't really been outside yet, they competed very well against the other teams were pretty much all Florida teams.
And they play year round.
Yeah, so it's hard to compete against them, but we have a very talented set of players. And what's even nicer about the players that we have is that almost all of them came up through our instructional league. So they started with us in the 4 or 5 year old age range. And over a period of years, through the coaching and working hard, they developed their skills to the point where they can compete at a national level.
Right.
So the next question I have to ask has to going back practicing baseball. What are some of the skill sets that children learn over the period of time from the organization in terms of sports?
So, I mean, obviously, there's a lot of concentration on the actual baseball skills, hitting, fielding, pitching. But the other thing that is really important is that they learn a set of skills, what they call, I guess now these days, soft skills that really are able to utilize
by the way, he's still sore
throughout the rest of their life. So we really emphasize working hard and putting in a best effort, having a goal and then putting in the best effort you can to achieve it. We obviously stress teamwork. Another important thing is that, what a lot of people like to say is that, baseball is a game of failure, because if you get 3 hits and 10 at bats, right, you fail 7 times out of 10, you're considered a top quality player. So you also have to learn how to deal with adversity.
Yes.
And I think baseball and sports in general is just a very good environment for dealing with adversity and learning how to deal with it and understanding that things are not always going to go your way.
True.
And what we like to tell our players is that, the winners are the ones that can pick themselves off the floor and point themselves in the right direction and get themselves back in the right spot. Anyone could be a good winner, but being able to recover from adversity and gaining success is the big win.
What you just said is like a major token, because in life, that's what you have to go through constantly: disappointment, adversity, but you still got to keep going. And then
it's that adversity that builds character.
Absolutely. And as I said, I mean, I think that one of the things that's
why I see the adversity you're losing to the Bonnies all the time build my character.
That you get to experience a lot of the same things that you get when you get into real life in school and jobs, etc. Myself, I mean, obviously, I am a volunteer for the organization. I spent most of my career in software development as a designer, as a manager, as a vice president of development. And when people ask me, where did you learn your skills? What I tell them is that a lot of the skills that I've used in my professional job were learned on the baseball field.
Oh.
Because you have to learn camaraderie. You have to work, like you said, you have to do teamwork. Because in baseball, you alone can't win. You're dependent on other people and group work. And so the pitcher pitches, if the pitcher pitches and unfortunately the catcher drops the ball, the runner can run. So the catcher has to catch a ball, and the catcher picks it up. The first baseman has to catch the ball, and so forth and so forth. So you can win a game 1-0 or lose it 1-0 too, depending on what kind of performance you have. So that's true.
So he's mainly saying that it's teaching you leadership skills throughout. That's part of it. Leadership, listening,
teamwork, and leadership, and the concept of best effort. I mean, each player has a different level of natural skills. I mean, some people, for whatever reason, come to the table with stronger natural skills than somebody else. But each one has another level that they can reach if they put in the hard work. What I like to tell them is that the magic sauce is the effort.
Magic sauce is the effort.
That's good.
And we've seen players that when they were 7 and 8 years old didn't look like they'd ever be able to play, and they've gone on to be top high school and college players.
Mm.
That's what you were talking about, Dr. Bryant, when you were saying, after a while, also what I was saying, you have people who have innate skills and people who have learned skills, and you were talking about giving that effort. If you got to put the time in, right? You can't sit there, even if you have great talent and you don't work at the talent, you're going to lose the talent. So, sometimes people sit there and get really mad, John, that oh, why is this person surpassing me? And I was better. Well, because the person outworked you. That's pretty much what happened. So you might have the natural skills, but eventually you'll get outworked. You were talking about funding and everything else. What is the if somebody needs to find out information, do you have an open session? Do you have what's going on? How do they find out about these things, a website or so forth?
Yeah, so we do have a website, and we do have someone who maintains the website for us. So we keep it very active. Our website is bonnieyouth.org, and it's a great place to start following the organization. We also have a Facebook page, and Instagram and Twitter as well. So that's really the place to start. Also, I mean, particularly now that we are going to be heading outdoors, we will be at our clubhouse, on the weekends. Anyone is more than welcome to come in, and we're always looking for new players,
Ringers.
people to help out. So anyone who needs information, by all means, start with our website and then go from there.
Yeah. Did you? Oh, there you go. John said you need to stop getting ringers. He keeps saying this word ringers. I don't know who he get this from, Jerry. Where does he get the word ringers? Was it? I'm telling you, this is.
There's a friend of mine. Her son plays for you. I'm trying to remember his name, and he's a pretty good ball player too. I think he's like maybe 13, 14, maybe 15 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, he plays for the Bonnies. And his
All
mom's
right, well, that's good.
Always traveling, always
yeah.
His sister plays basketball with my daughter.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this year my 9-year-old is going to be traveling. I think every other weekend or almost every weekend so far. I think the experience of traveling.
Oh man, definitely, I love the travel teams.
Yeah.
We had the traveling teams. That's what I love.
Parents, you also will get the experience of seeing other cities because, a lot of us don't travel. A lot of children don't, I was thinking about that. I didn't travel a lot growing up, except like trips I didn't go on except for schools
Hey, Jerry, you know what I want to ask you? I always watch the Little League World Series.
Right.
In Pennsylvania,
Williamsport.
Williamsport.
Yeah.
I was wondering why I never see teams like the Bonnies or Gil Hodges or Youth Service, South Shore traveling team. See players involved in that. I always try to figure out how does that work out.
So the issue is that Little League is a brand name. Okay, so it's a national organization which runs, tournaments and governs both local leagues as well as tournaments. Okay, and in Brooklyn, Little League at one time in Brooklyn was very strong. Matter of fact, Gil Hodges actually was a Little League at one time and a very strong one. Okay, they never made it to. I don't think they ever made it to the National World Series, but they were very strong. But the problem with Little League is there's very restrictive rules associated with Little League.
Okay.
You can only have players from a certain neighborhood.
Really?
They restrict how many players you can have of each age. And the field itself, I mean, is a very small field for the age players that they're servicing.
Mm-hmm.
So to see some of those 12-year-olds, right, in Little League pitching from where they're pitching from is really crazy. Our 11 and 12-year-olds play on a field where the bases are 70 feet, whereas Little League plays on a 60-foot field. Pitcher's mound in Little League is, I believe, about 45 feet. Our pitching mound is about 54 feet.
Mm-hmm.
So, Little League is one of these organizations, without wanting to sit here and throw stones, that has a very strong national reputation, but their actual program is really not as strong as other programs.
Right.
Right.
Thanks for that, Jerry. I better
Yeah,
understand.
because I do have a better understanding, because I was wondering one of the same conversation. I never see us. I think the last team I saw was that kid from the Bronx, and it was overaged. I don't.
Yeah, that was a number of years ago. I mean, we actually played against him a few years after that.
After that, that's interesting.
Yeah,
I wonder what
that
happened to him.
I mean, I guess he was around maybe 13 and maybe 14 even, and trying to pass for a 12-year-old.
Right. And
but when he got older, when he was around 16 or 17, we actually played against him.
Yeah, I wonder what happened to him. It was very interesting to know the story.
Yeah, I don't think my understanding is that he kind of leveled out when he played high school ball, but I don't think he had a significant college or professional career.
Yeah. All right, interesting. So you said in order to get in touch with you, Bonnie Baseball, BonnieYouth.org. What is the phone number, or leave a message?
Sure. So the best phone number is our clubhouse number. It's 718-941-4698. If we're not there, you can leave a message, and then we would get back to you.
All right, awesome. And the camp starts. So is information for the baseball camp on the site, or that's something later on?
There might be something on there, but we will be putting something up as we get closer to the summer.
And when does the season start? The official
season? The season starts at a different time for each age group, but our younger teams, ages 7 to 12, are going to be starting the season. April 9th is going to be our opening day parade and ceremony. We haven't been able to have it for 2 years because of the virus, but this year we are planning to go back to having a parade. We started our clubhouse on Church Avenue, and we parade through the parade grounds, and then down through Prospect Park. And we used to end up at Modell's, but unfortunately Modell's is no longer.
Modell's is no longer, boy.
But we do end up at Bobby's Department Store, which is one of our sponsors. And then we come back to Prospect Park and have a, refreshments and the actual ceremony.
All right, awesome. Look, unfortunately, I just went to tell me April 9th. I know I won't be there. I'll be in Albany. It's Black Caucus weekend, the same weekend. So I'll be up there. But my sons will be there. I want to end with a thought. What kind of talent do you need to get started with baseball? Because I think a lot of parents think that their child is not.
In our instructional league, we do not require any previous experience whatsoever.
That's good.
And our goal is really, our goal for instructional league, it's a developmental league, and we're really trying to accomplish two things. I mean, one is the obvious thing, which is to teach skills, baseball skills. But the second thing is to cultivate interest and enjoyment in the game. Because, the bottom line is, if you develop the skills, but the player doesn't like to play, it doesn't do you much good. So we really try to set up an environment where we not only are teaching them baseball skills, but really trying to cultivate an interest and enjoyment. And one of the things about baseball, I think it's true of most sports, but it's particularly true of baseball, is that it's kind of like swimming. One of the things they say about swimming is that if you learn how to swim when you're very young, it's usually pretty easy. But as you get older, it becomes harder to learn how to swim. And baseball is the same thing. If you start when you're 4 or 5, it's pretty easy. But if you get up to 10, 11, 12 years old and you haven't played, it's almost impossible to catch up.
Jerry, I want to, before we end, I just want to, I'm trying to make sense of this whole Major League Baseball on strike.
Right.
You know, why?
Are they on strike?
Why? Yeah, they're on strike.
Well, it's technically it's a lockout. It's not a
Lockout.
strike, but
Yeah. It's a lockout.
there's a major league. The contract. They had a collective bargaining agreement, which was in effect for I guess it was around 4 or 5 years, and that collective bargaining agreement expired at beginning of December. And the major league owners decided that rather than continue negotiating, they decided to put a lockout in place. So the players have been locked out basically since December 1st. It's really a very sad situation because, I mean, I think you can kind of place blame on both sides. On the owner's side, what's happened over the last number of years is that the profits that the owners have been making through TV contracts and the value of their teams going up is enormous.
Right.
And the amount of that they've given back to the players as a percentage of what they're making is nowhere near the amount that their profits have gone up by. So the players are basically saying that, we want more of our share.
I think the big major problem there, it goes back to the fans, right? I can't take my kids to a baseball game anymore.
Yep.
Because
let me tell you a little story about that. So I first started following baseball in 1955 when I was 8 years old. The prices at Ebbets Field in 1955 were 75 cents for the bleachers, $1.25 for grandstand, $2.50 for reserved seats, and $3.50 for box seats.
75 cents to $3.50.
Yes.
Wow.
And one of the things that's happened is baseball was able more than any other sport to hold their prices down longer than the other sports. But once free agency came and the high prices of the players came in, is when the prices in baseball really skyrocketed.
Wow.
Yeah, they need to go back. They need to go back to who brought them there. And
well, the fans are getting. There's no question that the fans are getting the worst of it from both sides. I mean, the sad part is that
the fans
there's
need
plenty
to go
of room for them to compromise. Okay,
that's the point.
Between
There's
what
plenty
the
of room
owners
for them
are,
to compromise, but they don't want to compromise.
That's the problem.
They agreed on both
in
sides.
other words, between the money that the owners are proposing and the money that the players are asking for, there's a lot of room in there for a middle ground. Okay, but neither side is really willing to budge in a realistic way.
I need them to go back to giving back to the fans. Like, I'm sick and tired of everywhere you go, your pocket get squeezed. You can't go to the movie theater. You can't go to a baseball game. You can't do.
Oh well, yeah. The prices are absurd. I mean, the food prices.
Yeah,
the food prices, either whether it's a movie theater or a sporting event, I mean, are out of sight. I mean,
it's absurd, And anyway, Jerry, I want to thank you for joining us on The Village, right?
Jerry, thank you very much, Jerry. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. I hope we can continue to make this a yearly event because obviously it means that spring is coming.
Spring is right around the corner,
and we have.
All right. So thanks a lot for having me.
No problem.
I look forward. Hopefully, we can do it again next year.
And just one thing I want you to end on. Remind John that the Bonnies are better.
Well, no, just to be fair to John, the Skyhawks are the football equivalent of the Bonnies. I mean,
yeah,
that's right. I want to
being successful.
Our Pee-wees won a couple of championships.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. All right. So, guys, thanks a lot.
All right.
Thanks,
take care,
Jerry.
All right. Take care.
God bless. Yeah. The summer camp, I was very excited.